In the decades since Kiryas Joel founding, it has grown from a handful of Satmar Hasidic families into a theocratic village town of over 32,900 residents. So youthful that its median age of 13.2 years makes it the youngest municipality in the United States. Despite a poverty rate near 40% and more than half its households receiving food stamps, the enclave displays virtually no homelessness or visible destitution, thanks to an intricate communal support system in which roughly 80% of residents are covered by Medicaid and half of households use SNAP benefits. Governed jointly as the Village of Kiryas Joel and the Town of Palm Tree by religious leaders rather than elected lay officials, the community adheres to strict ultra-Orthodox norms. Yiddish is the primary home language for over 91%. Modest dress and gender-segregated public spaces are enforced, and religious courts adjudicate civil matters. Rapid population growth has sparked fierce annexation battles and environmental lawsuits over aquifer use and habitat disruption in the Hudson Highlands, while state education mandates and church-state separation challenges loom over its unique special education district and private yeshivas. As Kiryas Joel heads towards 70,000 residents by 2030, it stands at a crossroads between preserving its faith-centered identity and accommodating modern legal, ecological, and educational pressures. Origins and founding. Williamsburg roots. In the 1970s, Satmar Grand Rebbe Joel Teitelbaum and his followers in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, sought refuge from what they saw as secular influences and rising living costs in New York City. Desiring a secluded, faith-focused environment still within reach of the metropolitan area, they purchased farmland in the town of Monroe, upstate New York, during the summer of 1974. Incorporation and early growth. Monroe officials were initially skeptical of the plan for dense multifamily housing, but granted incorporation in 1976, and by 1977, some 500 residents had settled in the newly named Kiryas Joel, Village of Joel, after the Rebbe. The unexpected surge in birth rates and family migration drove population to 7,400 by 1990 and over 13,100 by 2000, marking growth rates far above state averages. Theocratic governance. Shared village-town structure. In 2019, after protracted legal battles, Kiryas Joel separated from Monroe and became coterminous with the newly formed town of Palm Tree, sharing one administrative government. This maneuver stemmed from a 2017 deal. Kiryas Joel dropped plans to annex 507 acres in exchange for legislative approval to form Palm Tree and a 10-year moratorium on further annexations. Rule by religious authorities. Unlike typical U.S. towns led by elected representatives, Kiryas Joel is managed by an administrator and local council chosen by and often members of the Satmar clergy. Religious courts, Beit Din, oversee many civil matters, and the community abides by strict ultra-Orthodox norms, including modest dress codes, long sleeves, covered necklines, and gender separation in public events and transportation. Demographics and culture. Family size and median age. Families routinely have 8 or more children, resulting in a reversal of typical American age distributions. The median age is just 13.2 years, compared to about 38 years nationwide site. Over 79% of households include children under 18, driving per-household densities that far exceed suburban norms. Language and social isolation. In the 2010 American Community Survey, 91.5% reported speaking Yiddish at home, and only 6.3% spoke only English, not well or not at all. This linguistic enclave preserves religious and cultural continuity, economy and welfare, poverty versus visible prosperity. Although roughly 40% live below the federal poverty line, Kiryas Joel exhibits no visible signs of urban poverty, no slums or significant homelessness. Education and church-state debates. Special Education District. In 1989, New York enacted special legislation carving out the Kiryas Joel Village School District to serve serve students with disabilities within village lines, a system later upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court in Board of Education versus Grumet, 1994. Critics argue this arrangement blurs church-state separation, as the district is administered by communal religious authorities. 2025 funding challenges. In February 2025, New York State announced new education rules cutting funding to private schools, like many yeshivas in Kiryas Joel, that fail to meet prescribed standards in secular subjects, demanding increased instruction in English, math, and science. With over 65,000 ultra-Orthodox students across the state potentially affected, local leaders vow legal challenges to preserve traditional curricula, infrastructure, and environmental challenges. Water pipeline controversies. Kiryas Joel's rapid growth strained local aquifers, prompting the village to build a 13.5-mile pipeline from Cornwall. A project met with lawsuits over environmental reviews and intermunicipal water rights. In October 2017, a state appeals court upheld the village's right to pump from Cornwall wells, enabling continuation of a $60 million water project. Environmental impact disputes. Surrounding Monroe and Woodbury residents worry that annexation and development will deplete aquifers and harm the ecologically sensitive Hudson Highlands. Under SECRA, State Environmental Quality Review Act, plaintiffs have challenged annexation proposals, arguing environmental impact statements were inadequate. Land annexation and ongoing land wars. Annexation drives. Facing housing shortages, Kiryas Joel has repeatedly petitioned Orange County for unincorporated land annexations. In 2006, it successfully annexed 164 acres from Monroe. A judge upheld the annexation in 2016. Creation of Palm Tree. To end litigation over further expansion, Kiryas Joel agreed in 2017 to form the town of Palm Tree, dropping annexation plans for a decade in exchange for county approval of municipal separation, a deal ratified by voters in November 2017. New village efforts. As of April 2023, organizers have won court decisions supporting petitions to create another Hasidic village adjacent to Kiryas Joel, potentially unlocking nearly 1,000 acres for residential development, illustrating that the land wars are far from over. Controversies and scandals. Maternal care center grants. In 2008, Kiryas Joel secured over $10.5 million in state and federal grants to build a 60-bed postnatal maternal care center, provoking questions about preferential funding for a relatively insular religious community. Funding fraud allegations. A 2019 scandal saw 7 individuals, including a rabbi, arrested for stealing $14 million from a state program meant to support underprivileged children's technology access, highlighting potential abuses in communal grant administration. Projected to double again by 2030, Kiryas Joel faces a tension between preserving its tightly knit, faith-centered way of life and adapting to external pressures, environmental regulations, state education mandates, and the legal limits of communal autonomy. Surrounding towns fear overtaxed water supplies and suburban sprawl, while villagers emphasize their right to religious self-determination. The coming decade will test whether Kiryas Joel can maintain its unique identity amid evolving legal, financial, and ecological landscapes. Thanks for watching this deep dive into why America's strangest city exists. If you enjoyed exploring Kiryas Joel's remarkable story, please like, share, and subscribe for more geography and city content every week.